Did you know the Bible talks about giants? It mentions them, these enigmatic figures, and then just moves on. It's a footnote in the grand narrative. But for the ancient world, it wasn't a footnote. It was a headline. What if I told you that these giants weren't just a curious detail, but the very reason a world-destroying flood became necessary? Stick with me, and make sure you subscribe, because the story we're about to uncover changes everything you thought you knew about the ancient world. The ancient book of Enoch, a text once revered and read alongside what we now call the Old Testament, fills in the gaps. It tells a story of celestial beings, the Watchers, who descended to earth and had children with human women. Their offspring were not just tall humans, they were something else entirely. They were called the Nephilim, and this wasn't a metaphor. It wasn't symbolic poetry. According to these ancient records, they were terrifyingly real. These beings were described as having an insatiable, horrifying appetite. Imagine giants roaming the earth, hundreds of feet tall. Their hunger was so immense that they began to consume everything. First, all the produce of the land, all the animals. When that wasn't enough, the texts say they turned on humanity itself, devouring people. They were a force of pure, violent consumption, unstoppable. The world, as described in Enoch, was being eaten alive. Think about that for a second. The earth was crying out. It could no longer sustain this level of destruction. Life itself was becoming impossible. To the people who wrote and read these texts, this wasn't a myth or a fairy tale. This was their history. It was the explanation for the state of the world. The corruption wasn't just moral, it was genetic. It was a biological crisis that threatened to erase humanity from existence. The planet was overrun by a hybrid species that was consuming it into oblivion. This paints a very different picture of the Great Flood, doesn't it? We often hear it framed as a purely moral judgment on human sinfulness, but these ancient texts suggest something more. The flood wasn't just a punishment, it was a desperate planetary-scale quarantine. It was an act of cosmic surgery to remove a cancer that was killing the Earth. The goal wasn't just to wash away sin, but to eradicate a corrupted, violent, and unsustainable species that was on the verge of destroying everything. The very DNA of life on Earth had been compromised, and the flood was the reset button. But here's the question that rarely gets asked, the one that opens up a whole new level to this story. These Nephilim were physical beings, a hybrid of the spiritual and the material. So when their physical bodies were destroyed in the flood, what happened to their spirits? They weren't fully human, so they couldn't just pass on into the afterlife. They weren't fully celestial, so they couldn't return to the heavens. They were trapped, lost. And this is where the story takes a turn that has direct implications for our world, right here, right now. According to these ancient traditions, the disembodied spirits of the Nephilim became a new kind of entity. Without physical bodies to inhabit, their ravenous, destructive nature didn't just disappear. It lingered. They became spirits bound to the earth, forever hungry, forever seeking a way to influence and interact with the physical world they could no longer touch. What did they become? The texts are clear. They became the evil spirits. The demons that we read about throughout the rest of the scriptures and in countless stories of possession and spiritual oppression across history. This is a radical idea. It suggests that the origin of demonic evil in the world is on some abstract fall from grace in a distant heaven, but a direct consequence of this ancient catastrophe. The spirits that torment, tempt, and drive humanity toward destruction are the lingering ghosts of the giants who once tried to physically devour the world. Their nature hasn't changed, only their methods. They can no longer eat our flesh, so they seek to consume our spirits, to drive us to the same chaos and self-destruction that defined their own existence. This reframes so much of what we see in the world. When we talk about evil, it's not just a concept. According to this ancient worldview, it's a direct lineage, an echo of a forgotten war against giants. The struggles we face, the darkness in the world, the unseen forces that seem to push humanity towards chaos, it all traces back to the disembodied spirits of the Nephilim roaming the earth, still hungry, still wanting to consume. Now, think about what this means. The ancient stories of exorcisms, the warnings against consulting with spirits, the entire concept of spiritual warfare all snaps into focus. It's not a battle against abstract ideas. It's a continuation of the fight that began before the flood. The enemy is the same. The spirits of the giants are still here, and their influence, according to these texts, is the root of the evil that plagues us to this day. So, the next time you read that brief mention of giants in the Bible, remember it's not just a strange detail, it's the key. It's the prologue to a story that explains why the flood was necessary, what happened to the spirits of the giants after they died, and provides a stunning, terrifying origin for the evil we still confront in our world. The story of the Nephilim isn't over. It's still being written, every single day. Thanks so much for watching. If this story blew your mind, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because we are just scratching the surface of the secrets hidden in our most ancient texts. See you in the next video.